So first things first, I just want to say, forgive me for the lack of videos for the past few days. I've been doing a lot of soul searching and I needed a break. There was a lot on my mind and I needed a break, but obviously I can't stay in that type of state forever, and, getting back up on the horse, and here I am for Bleach Episode 2. But okay, with that out of the way, let's actually get into the core content of what this episode of Bleach has to offer. And this scene in particular that I have on screen, I will say, is easily the best scene of this entire episode, and might be, because of the way this is done, one of my top 10 favorite moments from the entire anime of Bleach. Now, granted, this could be recency bias, why I'm saying this, but I do believe, regardless if it is in top 10 or not, what makes this scene right here so incredible is that there was just complete silence, and it was so different, such a huge contrast to basically the episode. Like, there's so much sound, music, sound effects, everything, that when you get to the scene, it really pops. You notice it. And I think anyone that doesn't even care about the said characters, like, let's just say you don't even care about Yamamoto, you don't care about, Chojiro, you don't care about these two individual characters, it doesn't change the fact that I think anyone that watches this can understand what was being presented within this scene. And I want to take a few moments to talk about this, because this is a scene that really just stands out to me. So, Yamamoto and Chojiro. We know that these two have worked together since the very beginning of Bleach. We know that they've been side by side, and you've had, Yamamoto's lieutenant, Chojiro, he has always been there for him. He's had very brief scenes, very small scenes. He has been here and there throughout the story, but overall, he's never had, like, a major moment, if you get my point. And so, when you see this, at this point, since, a lot of you might be also anime-onlys, and some that are manga readers might have forgotten a lot, when you look at this, you might not have no attachment to the character, but I think even if you don't, you will get emotional, because what makes this sad is that Yamamoto is a character that doesn't really show a lot of emotion. What we've seen from him throughout the story, with him going up briefly against Aizen, to also him fighting off his students and all that at the beginning in the Soul Society arc and all that stuff that was going on, when we see these little things, we've seen moments, but we have never truly seen him actually show emotion. And this was such a moment for his character. It shows rage, sadness, and guilt. The very silence of the scene where everything zones out. And this is obviously what Yamamoto is seeing within his, vision. He's seeing his, student. He is seeing someone that has watched over him for a very long time, and that, they pledged everything to him, and now he is dead. And he feels guilt for that. He feels sadness and so much rage. And I love the transition of this scene, like, how he puts his fist down. Like, the whole sequence of events here when the fist goes down onto the ground, and then you see Yamamoto's back. And it doesn't show his face. It doesn't really have much music and stuff going on here. Just the entire scene, you know what he is feeling. And I think that this is easily the best scene of the episode. I'm just going to say, hands down, the best scene. They really went all in on this, and there is something that does also need to be mentioned. With this little moment with, Yamamoto and his lieutenant, the thing about it is that there was supposed to be a little bit extra here. There was supposed to be, like, a speech given, and it wasn't given. And I think not having the speech makes it so much better, because I think the whole way this was presented with this format is that sometimes silence is better than just having a long speech. And I think that right here really just tells a whole story. So I will say, this is amazing. This is an absolutely amazing moment, and this once again shows how anime can really elevate the source material beyond its capabilities from a manga. It just, love this scene. Big fan of this. So let's talk about some other stuff. So we got a lot within this episode. I mean, we got this whole, like, ominous build-up, like, at the beginning. We get to see, like, the main, like, king or ruler of, like, what we could assume is leading this group of Quincy's that was revealed, and just everything about these scenes is menacing, because this man, he doesn't even need to get up from his chair. Like, he looks at, like, his subordinates, and their arms go flying off. He pops their head like a melon, and it's like, holy crap, this dude is sitting in his chair, not even moving, and people just drop dead. What is his power? What is he doing? It brings so many questions. It's just scary. The very ominous nature of the character, like when he starts asking, like, you know, are you a prophet? Like, do you know something? Can you see the future? And the guy's just stuttering. The fear within his voice. Everything about this sequence of events is so perfectly crafted as well. And I want to take a step back from just talking about the scene or just this episode. There is definitely something I have noticed from this episode and last episode. The individuals that are working on the Bleach anime, it's very clear they have a lot of passion for this project. Like, there is a lot of passion, and I'm not just saying that just to fit on with the hype, but I feel like there is so much put in here. For instance, with the voice actors, the art animation, to just the transition scenes, there's a lot of love, like the montage we had in the first episode. And this opening sequence really builds up that ominous nature of whoever this individual is. And when you just see the voice actors start shaking, like you can hear the tremble in the voice as they realize that they're gonna die at any given moment because of their mistake. It's like, holy crap. And I love the voice acting of this scene, and it really just adds the overwhelming might of this individual sitting in the chair. That is what I like. But okay, so with this scene though, we also move on to some other stuff. We got the reintroduction of Nell. Like, Nell is back, which, let's be honest here, you know, great character. I feel like when I was watching the anime for the first time back, oh man, like 2009? 10? Oh man, it's so long ago. Like, I don't remember the exact year, but it was so many years ago. I remember when I was watching the anime and I saw this character, Nell, first introduced, I was like, yo, I like her. She's cool. I really like that. It's a very different, you know, perspective of Hollows. Like, we were really getting introduced to a lot of different, you know, Rankar and all that, and when we got her introduction, and she was nice, working with, you know, Ichigo, it was great. I loved her character, and then finding out she's very powerful and all of this, yeah, it was nice. And I was always sad that she really didn't have a huge role after that, even to fight Aizen. I was always sad about that, I really was. I know she wouldn't have been able to, you know, fight him, but still, I would have loved to have seen that. And when I saw this introduction for the first time in the manga years ago, I was so excited. I was just like, yo, finally, we're getting more Nell content, because she's great. She is an absolutely great character, and here she is. So, yeah, I'm happy with her reintroduction and all the characters, and I think anyone that is, you know, anime onlys will agree with that statement, because, you know, she's just fantastic. She really steals the show with how she was in the past, and it's nice to see her back. Now, I guess one thing that does need to be talked about, that was a funny shot, is what happened in the Hollows Homeworld. Man, I can never pronounce it. Hueco Mundo. I think that's how you say it. I've always had a hard time with saying that, so forgive me. But basically, the Hollows Homeworld, we get to see kind of an update status of what has happened to it. For instance, who is now leading it, like Halibel right here, and how she was just taken down with pretty much ease by the leader of the Quincy's. We get to see just the devastation that Hollows are, you know, being basically enslaved and just killed off like that, trying to be added to an army to be the advanced force that's probably going to attack Soul Society. There is a lot of things that we see from this to just show the devastation of this place, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, yes, Aizen was a bad guy. We know this from, you know, the first anime. But the fact is that the Arankar did have a little bit of an upgrade. Thanks to becoming Arankars, they got more stronger, more intelligent, all these little things that, you know, happen when we were first introduced to this. And obviously, thanks to Aizen losing and just everything, their society will take a dramatic shift. There will be some good and bad that happens, but obviously when things are finally starting to get off the ground, get a lot better, you have these Quincy's come in and they just straight up start executing individual, you know, Hollows, you know, Rankar. And it's messed up. It's legitimately a very dark scene. And so, I just want to take a few moments of just talking about why this is dark. And I think anyone that knows a little bit about history or sees what Tite Kubo is kind of doing in this entire segment, it's kind of scary. If I was to go in links to talk about what this scene kind of represents and what it's about or what it might be, I guess, based on, this entire video would be demonetized. And I'm not going to say some words. But I think anyone that is able to really look at some of these events and what happened throughout this episode with the characters to the designs and everything will put A and B together. Tite Kubo is definitely doing something very dark here, basically just showing Hollow/Rancor just getting executed like this. It's messed up. This is a really messed up sequence of events, and it just shows that the very tone of this arc's beginning is radically different. Like, it is a huge left turn. It's very dark, and Bleach does have a lot of dark moments, but this is a legitimately dark moment for Bleach, especially just what the sequence actually represents, what it's kind of based on. So just, yeah, I'm a big fan. And actually, I want to talk about this since I have this on the screen. I am a huge fan of this transition sequence with the spear, with the Quincy spear. And the reason why is because when you look at the moon of Hueco Mundo, hopefully I'm saying that right, you will see how it has a hole in it, like a crescent moon. And when we think of hollows have a hole on their body somewhere, like chest, wherever. We know this because that kind of represents what a hollow is. They are missing something. And when you look at the moon in, Hueco Mundo, it actually has something very similar. It looks like it's missing a piece. And so when you see this Quincy spear raised up into the sky and it's stabbing, looks like it's literally stabbing through the moon, it's basically saying that they are stabbing the very soul of the world. They are stabbing the soul of what hollows are. It's a very symbolic scene, and I really like this. I am a huge fan of what they've been doing with just this episode alone, with the transitions to the symbolic nature of some of these scenes. It's really good. Like, seriously, I don't think anyone can deny just how good some of these sequences are. We do get a lot of fighting at the end. We get to, introduce to, Hollybell's, fighting squad, get to see a little bit more of, their strength and stuff, going up against a Quincy, but in the end, he kind of does devastate them, because he's a little bit strong. He's a very strong guy. He doesn't eliminate him. He's not going to go down with ease. It's clear he's very powerful, and it most likely means that Hollybell's not going to, or Hollybell's group is not going to be able to bring him down, and Ichigo is probably going to have to come in and save the day. Now, we also get kind of a little bit of, telling us who the enemy is. It's Quincy's. It's just straight up told to you. But I think anyone that remembers, Ashida's little necklace, to all the little hints that's been going on throughout these 2 episodes, it's kind of obvious it's been Quincy's. But I think that the scene is obviously needed because it still shows that the characters are discussing it and figuring out who their actual enemy is and what's going on. So, yeah, this episode of Bleach is just fantastic. There's a lot of build-up, a lot of symbolic things that's going on here, and I'm not gonna, talk about too deeply because of spoiler reasons. I mean, we have the wonderful intro kind of showcasing all the captains to the enemy squad, get a little bit of Ichigo, and I want to take a few moments to just talk about this color palette as well of this opening song. I think that, when you look at the color palette of this opening, it really represents Bleach entirely. For instance, the colors of Bleach has always been black and white. I mean, it's a manga, obviously, but I think if there is any manga that perfectly captures that tone of black and white color tone, it's Bleach. Seriously, I really believe that. And so, when I see this, I love how it's, blending with the manga to an anime, this very distinct, harsh color coming in and consuming the black and white. I think that's awesome. I really, really like the way this opening sequence is done. So yeah, just overall, I can feel the passion, I can feel the love. There is so much good in this episode of Bleach, and I enjoyed it from start to finish. I think many are probably going to fall in love with the main enemy that's being built up with just his ominous tone. Just tell me your thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about, this episode of Bleach. Anyways, I guess I'll wrap it up there. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like and subscribe if you want more of my content to appear in your YouTube feed. But with that, be safe, stay healthy, Chibi out.